Hi there, I'm Barbara Turley and you're watching another episode of Feminine Wealth TV, the show that uncovers the diamond tips on creating truly conscious wealth from change makers, world shakers and wealth creators. I'm very excited with my guest I have on the show today because she has been dubbed the automation queen, and that is a subject that is very, very close to my heart. Lisa McQueen is the founder of an amazing company called Clean Corp, a company she took from one person to a national and then international brand with 150 staff. She has also co-authored a book with the amazing Brian Tracy called The Power Principles of Success, which is now an Amazon bestseller. And finally, she is the winner in 2014 of a very prestigious competition award called the Ultimate Marketer, the Infusionsoft Award. She was the first woman to win it and also the first international person to win this award, where thousands of people enter that competition every year. So she is truly an inspiration, and I can't wait to share some of the stuff with you today that we're going to talk about. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Barbara. It's great to be here.
Yeah, great to have you on the show. And I know when we met, I was very excited because I went, finally, a woman who's into automation. Because in business, as we were talking about off air, it's the thing that actually frees you in business.
It is. It gives you that time back in your life.
Yeah.
So you don't have to do the same thing day after day, like 10 times a day. You can just have it happening in the background for you.
And it's really how you grow scalable businesses,
definitely,
isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely.
You can't grow them without automation and efficiencies of process and systems.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, for us, there's no way we could have managed 150 employees and hundreds of clients without having automation. We'd have to have
physically
so many more.
Impossible.
Yeah, physically impossible.
So tell me, I'm always interested in the backstory. You know, where the journey to get here. It's never linear, as we know. You know, it's never an overnight success.
No.
So tell me, where did it all start for you? Was it entrepreneurship from day one? How did it all begin?
It's quite a long story. These entrepreneurial stories always are. But for us, my husband and I have 3 children, and we were at a point in our life where we weren't doing well. I mean, he had a job, I had a job, but we never could make it to the end of the month. And then one day we realized, it was just after Christmas, we had completely run out of money. No money on the credit cards, not a cent in our wallets, and we were stony broke. And
it's not a happy place to be.
No.
People say money can't buy you happiness. And I go, well, poverty doesn't either.
No,
you know,
poverty.
or being like tight financially is really hard.
We were super tight and always tight. And I guess we both just had enough of it that day. And Hamish said, look, let's go down to the beach. Maybe it'll come to us what we need to do, the next step for us. And it literally floated to us.
Fell out of the sky.
Close, maybe. Hamish went in for a swim. This was at Warriewood Beach, our local beach. And I stayed on the beach with the kids. He came back about 10 minutes later with this big grin on his face. And I thought, what's he smiling about? I mean, we're broke, right? We're broke. Comes back, he's got something in his hand like this. And I said, what is it? What is it? And he goes, you are not going to believe this. And he opened his palm, and there was a $10 and a $5 note, like tightly crunched up like that. He'd come up from a wave, and it was right in front of him, and he just reached out and grabbed it.
It's a sign.
It was a sign. It was a sign to us that, you know, something that day was helping us. It was certainly $15 was not going to change our lives, but it was a sign to us. And we really got very intentional from then on that we had to be in charge of our own destiny, our own wealth, our own ability to make more money for the family. And about a month later, Hamish was offered a second job, a part-time job, cleaning offices.
Right, yeah.
And he figured out very quickly that this was a great business model because you get a contract to clean an office, and with that you get monthly recurring income.
Yes.
So the more contracts you get, that you can scale that business model.
It's a nice business model, actually. Yeah.
And so for about 12 years, Hamish did that on his own, and I'd go out at night and help him clean offices and
you're a good wife. He's a lucky man.
But it gave me some really interesting insights that were, I was able to use right throughout the business. And then he said to me, look, because I was working in a hotel chain and, cushy, lovely job during the day, not so cushy, lovely job at night.
Yeah.
And then he said, look, why don't you come and join the business? You've got all these sales and marketing expertise. That's what we need. Because he couldn't grow the business. It just,
well, it's hard to be doing the work. It's hard to be doing the work.
Yeah.
And running the day to day, and then actually take a business forward.
Exactly,
That's really difficult.
exactly. Yeah. And customer attrition. So you'd get a client, lose a client, that type of thing. So it was like treading water. And so I said, okay, well, I'll come on board. And at that time, I didn't even know what I didn't know about running a business. I considered myself...
Had you ever run a business?
Not
myself.
Not
your own.
No, I worked for big hotel companies that had fabulous systems in place. I always considered myself a really good 2IC.
Yeah.
I was the girl that would get it done, but running my own business, I was terrified. And so I said to Hamish, I'm going to need a business coach to get me up leveled as far as my knowledge. And so I started working with someone, and she was just incredible. And what I noticed with her was that she had just all these great systems. She was giving me information before I even knew I needed it.
Yeah.
And that set me on this path. That was her process. And I said to her one day, Debbie, how do you do this? How can you anticipate what I need and give it to me before I'm even asking for it? And she said, well, I use Infusionsoft. And so that was like the beginning.
Did you go Infusion what?
Oh, yeah.
What was that thing?
Barbara, I swear to you, I did not know what an autoresponder was. I had no idea.
I only learned what that was a few years ago, just because I started doing my own thing. I mean, why would you know what it is beforehand?
Yeah,
you just don't know.
Now it feels really
so
weird.
Normal.
Yeah, now it feels so normal, and I think everyone does know that. But at that time, I didn't know, and when I could see the power of that, I thought, wow, this can really help us move our business forward in so many different ways.
Now, I'm going to pause there for a second, because there'll be people watching that may not know what an autoresponder is. And this concept of how do you use a machine? It's basically automated marketing.
Yes,
isn't
it is.
it?
Yes.
Just in its simplest form.
Yes.
Automated sales and marketing using systems and stuff that works in the background for you, while you get on with living.
Yes, exactly.
Basically,
while you get on with doing things that you want to do. That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
So you were opened to this world.
Yes, and we just saw that we were getting a lot of prospects that were coming to our website, and we get leads and what have you. And Hamish would go out and do a quote, and we might do one follow-up phone call, and then that would be it.
And then it's gone.
And so really, we were just leaving money on the table all over the place, and that's why we couldn't grow the business. So when we fixed that hole in the business, all of a sudden it just went boom.
Took off.
Yeah. We were staying in touch with clients and being able to have conversations with them that were really natural, rather than hello, dear sir,
dear valued client, whose name we don't even know.
It's and as we got better and better at it, it just felt more and more natural for our prospects, I think. And we were doing something that really in that industry, that's the service-based industry, nobody else was doing that. Nobody else was really taking that.
Well, that's kind of cutting edge. I mean, really, even still, I know a lot of people are using automation systems like Infusionsoft or Entreport and these ones, but it's still actually quite a new, innovative thing for a lot of particularly brick and mortar style businesses, like that sort of cleaning business, or other clunky businesses, as I call them. They're not online machines.
That's right.
And they don't realise what they can do online or with automation.
That's right. And I mean, it's not just doing the marketing either, because we then started to, once our marketing machine was really moving and we were getting leads in, closing sales, and we were keeping clients, then we started to look at, how can we use this amazing tool to help us with our processes inside of our business?
Yeah, so that's a whole other level.
That's a whole other level, and that's when we really just
took off.
Because we could just let go a little bit, and instead of managing the minute details that come up every day over and over and over and over again,
the system took care of it,
and took care of it better than I would do it, because it never got missed. It never got, nothing ever was missed. So it just,
Now, what would you say to people? So there's going to be a lot of people, and you know them, I know them, that they feel like automation systems, they feel like they're losing control. I mean, and this is a generalization to say women in business, but as women, I think a lot of us we struggle to delegate to teams, and we struggle to bring in automation because we feel like we're losing control or we're losing the personal touch. What would you say to people who feel that way?
Yeah, I would say the automation allows you to humanize every interaction with you and your customer, because you can segment who you're talking to, and then you can make sure that you're only talking to them about what they're interested in.
Or their specific problem.
their specific problem. And without boring them with other stuff going on, you can really get super laser focused on that client. And I think that creates a much better experience, a much better customer experience when you can do that. So that would mean, sorry, just to clarify, instead of everybody getting your newsletter every week, you actually have very targeted messaging going to specific clients or segments based on the stage they're at in the buying cycle or a problem they specifically have that someone else may not have. Exactly.
So it's very tailored.
And you know, the way that you segment down your prospects, and then once you turn a prospect into a client, you can segment them down even more, because now you've got a relationship. You can learn things about them. I mean, we have this a birthday campaign, which is, you know, pretty stock standard in small business, but for our business, for our birthday campaign, it's a little bit different. So the first year they get a card on their birthday, but the second year we deliberately send them a card late, and the reason for that is, and then we send them the card. And the card, so we'll send them. We've got an automated text message that goes, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed your birthday." And then the belated card arrives, and that has enormous power, because all of a sudden, and that's what I'm talking about, the humanizing, being able to put little tiny touches like that into your marketing, but having it all automated, so
that's
you don't
the
have
big
to
thing.
think about
it's
it.
on autopilot, and it happens for you. So it's working for you rather than you working for it all the time.
That's right. So, you know, our 3 years, it's the first one's on time, the second one is late, and the third one is bang on time. And it works. It really works.
Well, I suppose because you're out of the birthday cycle, so actually what happens is you have more impact because everyone else is wishing them happy birthday on that day as well. So tell me now, so when you you started getting into Infusionsoft, you started opening up this world. When did you feel finally able to let go? I mean, you're never able to let go fully, but when did you feel that sense of, wow, we have a machine?
I think it hit me about 2013 that I realised that every single thing that we did at Clean Corp was automated, except for turning up at a client's site and not having to hire loads of extra staff to manage day-to-day stuff in the office. I think that's when I really started to understand the power of it. And you know, it really did just change our lives. It totally changed our lives, and it meant that now we could get really focused on doing other special things for clients, and also not just our clients but our internal clients as well, our workforce. I mean, we've got a huge workforce, and in our industry quite often the workforce is like the forgotten majority, and are often treated that way. So we wanted to do some cool things around that as well, and try and make sure that our team was a really strong team, and the company has a really strong culture as well, where everyone's sort of supporting the business and working towards like a greater goal. And
of course, and what's lovely about listening to you talk about that, I'm thinking to myself, how many people would love the luxury of being able to work on their business like that? But they don't have that luxury because they're so damn busy working in the business and stuck doing all the work. And that's actually why they need to. I mean, I've actually even said to people, it is worth pausing and taking 3 months out and actually fixing all this stuff.
Yes, it is.
So that you can move forward. Like, take a step back. Because people always say to me, I'm too busy. And I say, well, actually, you'd probably be better off just pausing for a bit, fix it, and then move forward, and stop trying to build on what a shaky foundation that you have right now.
Exactly. I mean, when I joined Clean Corp, there wasn't a single system or process for anything.
Is that stress and overwhelm?
There wasn't, not one. And coming from an industry that was, heavily systematic, like in hotels, I was just out of my depth. I was thinking,
how do you run this?
How do you run a business without systems and processes? And once you have those and they work for you, well then, that's when you get that scalability and that leverageability and all of a sudden that freedom. So you can really start to move forward then and feel confident that the system is going to support every step of the way. So yeah.
Now, one of the questions I get asked a lot about processes and systems, when I start, and I'm sure you get this too, you talk about it, and a lot of people say to me, but I don't even know what a process is, right? So they're starting with this level. So what I thought we could touch on, because I know we talked off air about this, the competition that you entered with Infusionsoft that you went on to win. Can you talk me through the business problem and how you built that particular process and why you chose it, and maybe we can use this example to try and show what can be done.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, so for us, the biggest problem was losing clients. Being a cleaning business, if a lot of clients would, if you miss one bin, they just you're gone, you're out. And
very expensive problem as well. Drop off of clients in loads of businesses, very expensive.
And I mean, if you're not moving, you're
going backwards.
Yeah. And so we were we noticed that our retention level had dropped. So we were losing too many clients for the number of clients we were bringing on board. And I thought, wow, what is that problem? What is it? So the first thing I did, which any business owner would do, was I surveyed our customers. I didn't get any data there that really showed me what the problem was. So then I surveyed our internal customers, and I just asked them about, what's it like when you go onto the job site? How do you feel? Things like that. And what came back from them was just unbelievable. And it backed up what I already knew from my previous days working in offices as a cleaner, that they felt undervalued, and they felt like, even though they'd be in an office 5 days a week, working hard every single day, very, very often, the business owners or the people working there, they wouldn't even make eye contact. They wouldn't speak to them. It was like they didn't exist.
Yeah.
And I just knew that was the problem. Our people were looked upon as disposable people. Yeah. And as a service business, that's a huge, huge problem. So to fix it, I used Infusionsoft, and I thought, okay, I want it to be an automated process.
Now, I just want to pause for a sec, because basically you were dealing with the psyche of the person in the office who you don't really have any connection with, because you're dealing with the contracting and all that. So you're using an automation system to change how people view your staff that go in. I mean, that's incredible. So I just wanted to kind of make sure that we were really, on track to know what we're talking about here.
So that is exactly what we did. And the way that I did that was I asked each one of our cleaners to send me a photo of themselves, but not in their uniform. I wanted it to be in their normal life, whether it be with their wife and their kids, whether it be when they're on their last holiday, whatever was a good thing for them, I wanted them to send me that. Together with 3 things that they liked to do. So, some people would tell me their favourite football team, others would tell me where they like to go on holidays, anything like that. Then I used Send Out Cards, which is a card mailing house, awesome card mailing house, and I designed cards that looked like they should be put on a notice board. So they had like a corkboard background, and they had like a big green thumbtack in the middle of them, and a photo of the cleaner, and then on
a little profile
thing, and then on the bottom on the card, the card would say, hi there, I'm Michael, I'm your new cleaner, and although our paths may or may not cross, I thought that you might like to know something about me. And as you can see from this photo, I'm married, I've got 2 gorgeous girls, and on the weekend, I love to see, my favourite football team and take the family on a picnic. And I want to be the best cleaner that you've ever had. So if there's anything that I can do, please, here's my mobile number. Please let me know, or leave a message in the communication book. As soon as we started doing those cards, and again, all automated, it just stopped. The churn, stopped.
You did ultimate humanization of your business.
Absolutely.
Using automation, which is the
I know. It's sort of an oxymoron, isn't it? But And our cleaners loved it because all of a sudden, when they'd turn up to an office, they'd go into the kitchen, they'd see the notice board, and there would be their card.
Yeah.
So the other people within the office would say, hey, Michael.
Yeah, because you'd nearly feel bad if you, because all of a sudden they're like,
Exactly.
oh, that's that guy's name.
That's his name. And he's got 2 kids. They made the connection that the people who were in there cleaning their bathrooms, tidying up their kitchens, emptying their bins, were real people who had families and lives and
who wanted to do a good job.
Yes.
That's the other thing. Actually, most people want to do a good job, you know.
Yeah, nobody goes to work wanting to do a bad job.
Yeah, and make a mess of it and get fired.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden, it was like all of our staff were just really happy because people would make an effort to talk to them.
Yeah.
So they were getting what I believe is the respect that they deserve. I mean, their cleaners are a very forgotten sort of industry, group of people. And what most people don't realise is they're incredibly hardworking. So
that's a hard job.
It's a hard job.
It should be
It's very
respected like at the highest level.
Yeah, it's very physical. And I mean, if you think about all the offices, people come into their office every day.
Toilets are clean.
And everything's clean
yeah.
and it's nice and what have you. So for us, that was a really big problem for us that automation solved.
Yeah.
And just going back to that question earlier where you asked me about people losing control of their, the interactions. We didn't lose any control.
You got more control.
We got more control.
You gained control. Yeah. So you won the competition with Infusionsoft for this particular solving this business problem using automation.
Yes,
yeah.
that's
I mean,
right.
that's an amazing story, and I love that's why I so wanted you to share that example because it did humanize something in your business using automation.
Yes.
So tell me now, how does one co-author a book with the amazing global, business superstar Brian Tracy? How did that come about?
Well, after I won The Ultimate Marketer, his people reached out to me and said, well, first of all, they invited me onto his show. So I appeared as on America's Premier Expert. So I flew over there and did that. And while I was on the show, he said to me, so you're kind of like the automation queen. And the moment I left that studio, I thought, right, I like that.
Yeah.
And then his team said to me, look, Brian's writing a book, and we feel like automation. Everybody wants to know about it. A lot of people are afraid of it, and we think that it'd be a great fit. So so that's how it all came about. It was really cool.
Yeah. And tell me, so anybody starting out, because a lot of women in business are kind of starting out, are still, to be honest, even if they're 10 years in business, you'd see this as well, still kind of on that just peddling for money, right? What would you say to somebody? I mean, automation is overwhelming. Where would you start? What would be the little steps you would take for someone starting out?
Okay, the first thing I would do to start off is just look at your business and look at the process, the steps that your prospects go through, because I guarantee you
there is a process.
There's
always a process.
You may not know it yet, but there's a process.
It's in your head.
Yeah. And each customer will go through a similar process. So for us, we did that. So I stood back. So if you can do that with your business, try and stand back. Look at what the process is. They come into your business. How? And then what? Then what do they do? What's the next step? How can you make that a better experience for them? So in our instance, we know that every single prospect that comes to our website and fills out our web form, we know that they want social proof. We know that they want to hear from our existing customers. And we know that they're going to be asking for like 3 to 5 quotes. We know that.
Oh, from other companies.
From other companies.
Yeah.
So what we do is we go, okay, let's make sure that we brand ourselves. So Hamish is the face of our company. Let's make sure he stands out in their mind, because if he's the first guy in the door, by the time quote number 5 comes through, they've forgotten about him. They would have.
They've forgotten about him. Yeah.
So I make sure they cannot forget him. He's everywhere. They come to the thank you page. There's something from him. We send automated SMS messages saying, "Oh, it was great meeting you," and it's all timed out. But I mean, that's really advanced for someone just starting out. Just look at the process.
Yeah, create
what
a
happens?
process.
Create
one
the process.
simple process,
and just create the process for a prospect. Do that first, And then once you've done that, create a process for a client. And you can build on it from there.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, my first. I mean, I've had Infusionsoft for so long. They were sequences when I started.
Yeah.
But the first campaigns I did were so basic.
And that's what you start with.
Look at the results.
Yeah. It was. Then you start to think, I can do another thing.
I did, and I was using emails from the Infusionsoft template library. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know, they were pretty good, but like using my own voice was always going to be better. So, like knowing that and just taking that step and going, okay. And look, I will say, Barbara, it isn't easy to make that decision as a business owner because one, you've got a financial commitment there, and two, I think there's a little bit of fear.
There's a lot of fear,
especially if you are the type of person who says, "Well, I'm not techie, I don't understand that." I mean, the resources out there for people.
It's worth. What I say to people, I'm sure you're going to agree. I mean, what would you say to yourself 8 years ago?
Oh, just
get over yourself and do it now, quick.
Stop whinging, get over yourself and do it, because it will
free you,
change your life. It will change your life. And I'm not, way back then, I was not a particularly techie person. I wouldn't even call myself techie.
No.
Now I just follow the path, and I follow the process. And what I didn't know, I made it my business to learn. Mm-hmm. The great news now, of course, is that like way back then, there was no one to help you. Like, especially being here in Australia, there was no one to help, because I think I was one of the first Infusionsoft
That's right,
clients.
you were, here in Australia.
And but now there's a fantastic network of certified partners. There's VAs out there who are awesome with Infusionsoft. So there's this fabulous network out there. Yeah. Not to mention the Infusionsoft user group. All this great information sharing. People are very generous with helping others.
They are, yes, they are.
So the community around it, and I think that community is probably, with any automation server that you go, Entrepreneur would have that, Aweber would have it, any of them would have that. So put your fear aside and
dive in.
Yeah, just dive in, and don't be,
And you know what, mistakes will happen. That's what I say.
Oh, totally.
You'll have processes that won't work, and I actually always say to people, when you create a process and a mistake happens, view it as a gift, because it means the process doesn't work.
That's right.
It's an inefficient process, or something's wrong in there. Yeah. So I actually try and see those as gifts.
Exactly.
And my final question, because I know you've worked with a lot of clients and you've helped them with their automation and all that. So what would you say to the clients that say to you, that wouldn't work in my industry? Because I know already that, I come from the financial industry, and I could imagine financial planners in particular, anyone watching, I know they would say to me, that won't work in my industry.
Yeah, wow.
What do you say to them?
Well, first thing is, financial planners are probably one of the biggest industries
in America
using Infusionsoft.
And they should be.
That would be the first thing I'd say. I seriously haven't come across a business that cannot use
there's no
automation.
Product, service. People say to me, I'm a brick and mortar business. It doesn't matter whether you're brick or mortar, product, service, combination of all of them, completely online. It works for everyone.
It works for everyone. Yeah. I mean, I use it in an online fashion and an offline fashion. Yeah. So you can have the best of both worlds, and really anything you can dream of, you can virtually automate it.
Yeah,
it's really that incredible.
So if anybody wants to get in touch with you, if they want to follow you, where should they go?
If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at Automation Queen.
Great.
And if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Lisa McQueen 77. Follow me or reach out to me.
Google the automation.
Google the Automation Queen. It's at automationqueen.com.
And you're there.
Yeah, I'm there.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for bringing this topic, because it's not easy to find a woman who actually is into automation. So I'm really excited that we've had this chat today.
Oh,
thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. It's been great. Thank you.
And thank you all for watching again. Remember, you can catch me later this week on my podcast, Wealth Unplugged, where I'm going to be giving you just my key takeouts from my chat today with Lisa. So remember to come back next week for some more Feminine Wealth TV.